Hey Ringside crew, welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside Podcast. And now here's your host, Joe Panther III.
Hey, hello there, wrestling fans, to another episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside Podcast. I am Joe Panther III, and I am happy to welcome you to West Coast Wrestling Month, where we give you a big spotlight to all the professional wrestlers from the West Coast. We've had so many names the past 4 years of this podcast, from East Bay Pro Wrestling to the Candy Girl to Santo. Well, that was last year, this year. But still, we've had Santo. Who not? What? He's the goatess of all time, so it's Santo. So, introduce you guys. Yeah. Introduce yourselves to my internationally known audience.
I am El Chingon Enrique Calderon.
And my name is Amelia Plum.
Awesome, guys. First and foremost, what made you guys get into the professional wrestling business?
Wow. So I have been a professional wrestling fan ever since I was such a little kid. And that has been my dream ever since I was 6 years old. So as soon as I turned 19, I was able to find a wrestling school, and it went from there, just going to practices.
And then for me, I actually didn't grow up with wrestling. I grew up with theater. So I did theater, I did acting all throughout my middle school and high school years. And I met him at one of his wrestling shows, and we started dating, and I came around a lot more wrestling shows, and I realized that there's a lot of theatrics and performance behind it. And so I really got into backstage interviews was like my first step into the door. And then I eventually made my way into like student ring announcing, and I'm slowly working my way up from there, and it's so much fun. I love going.
Awesome. With you being a ring announcer, I've spoke to other ring announcers, and I've asked this question to them. I want to hear your side, your way of it. The day of a show, do you have a special like way that you like get your voice between like announcements, so you don't mess up, like scratch the voice up or give yourself nodules for like announcing the certain way?
Kind of, because I was in theater forever, for over 4 years, I have my basic like theater warm-ups and warm downs, and to help myself like ease the nerves. And I also realized that having some like chili candy or something to like make my mouth more aware, it helps my enunciation and my like word for word pronouncing so much. And it also helps my nerves. So a little bit of chili candy and some theater warm-ups helps me so much. And same thing with all my interviews too.
When it comes to doing your interviews, do you ever have to approach every interview differently? Because I know some wrestlers do a certain thing to make the interviewer like feel uneasy, and you're like, okay, this guy does this, and this. Do I have to back up? Do you ask the guy, okay, are you going to be in full creepy character, or are you just going to be staring at me? Like, do you ever do that to the guy before you interview him, before they say action?
I usually ask them if they have anything that they specifically want to say. And then I'll start thinking about my question, thinking how I want to make them look as best as they can either way. You know, if they want to come off big and super scary, then I want to ask the right question to make them big, super scary. Or, you know, the better guys wanting to get the audience on their side, I want to ask them the right question. So I usually ask them, what do they want to get across first before I can ask them to make them look better.
Okay. Now to the wrestling side of it.
There you go.
who trained you?
So I was trained by Don Vitale and Gabriel Gallo at Training AZ down here in Mesa, Arizona.
Hmm. So I'm 41, and I know wrestling for a while back in the day, and around COVID, it was it. Did you find it easier or harder to find the school?
I was fortunate enough to start after COVID. So I joined my wrestling school in 2021. And during that time, we weren't running any shows, but we were still training. And it wasn't really hard to find a school just because I just kind of looked it up online, pro wrestling schools here in Arizona. And my wrestling school, Training AZ, was one of the first ones to come up with some other schools. And just looking at the videos from what I saw on Instagram and the kind of people that were recommending that school, I knew that I had to go to Training AZ.
Hmm. So what is the toughest thing you had to do in the school?
Oh God, definitely. The hardest thing was coming over the mental side of wrestling. As soon as I started wrestling, or at least training, I was definitely one of the smaller guys that went into the business. So having that disadvantage already, I made it my main goal to get myself in the best shape as possible and trying to make myself look apart as much as I can. So that there's a saying they always say, you don't want to look like your next door neighbor if you're going to be wrestling. So I definitely take that to heart, and then I go off of that.
So let's flash a little further in your career. What was your energy like the first time you stepped through the curtains for your very first match?
Oh shoot! It was actually on my first match was an accident. So
Oh, no.
yeah, I was a referee before I started wrestling. So I refed for about a year while I was training, and I'm very thankful for that because it gave me the opportunity to get a whole bunch of ring awareness and reps inside of a ring that I wouldn't get just training every day at my training facility. So there was that, and then as soon as I debuted, I would say I was super nervous just because of the fact that I refed the first match of the show that I was on, and then the second match, the very next match, they were like, "Hey, we had some guys that couldn't make it. You got your wrestling gear?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I just took some promo pics that earlier that day, and then they were like, "Well, you're gonna be wrestling." So I was like, "Oh my goodness!" So then the very next match, they saw the referee get into his wrestling gear and have his first match.
Did you like when they said that to you? Did you like panic and look and see? Because I have a thing when someone says, "Oh, Joe, do you have stickers?" And I immediately look at my like next to me like it's gonna be like a little guy holding a bag, going, "Here, sir." Like, did you look over and go, "Yeah, I got my bag"? Like,
Oh yeah, I was such a nervous wreck. Like I had to have like a whole bunch of my peers calm me down just because of the fact that I didn't even know coming into the day, which is probably for the best, because then I would have just completely psyched myself out of it, and then I was just in the moment at that point, and I was able to go through with it and have a good match. So I was thankful for that for sure.
so with you guys being a couple, do you guys find it easier and harder to book yourselves, or do you have to like tell the promotion, okay, I'm a wrestler, but she's a commentator? Do you guys looking for a commentator and a wrestler at the same booking?
I definitely say it simplifies things for sure. Just for the simple fact that if one show's looking for a wrestler, they might be looking for a ring announcer too, or a backstage interviewer, and that always comes in handy wherever you go. So having that in her skill set, which is very useful, it comes in handy when I go to shows. Because then I could just be like, "Oh, hey, just an FYI, I'm gonna be coming down with one of our ring announcers from our show," and she also does backstage interviews if you need anything. So
Oh yeah, I go with him. I want to see him wrestle, and like that's just how it ends up happening. We say, he gets booked. I go with him. They don't fully know that I'm going, but if I get there and I'm like, "Hey, my name's Amelia. Like, I'm here with Enrique. I do some ring announcing on the side, but I mostly do backstage interviews. I'm comfortable with backstage interviews. If you need anybody, like I'm here if you need me. I'm very helpful. I would love to do anything.
Yeah, one thing I definitely feel like is most important in wrestling is always bring your gear, whether you're a wrestler, a referee, a ring announcer, because you might never know when opportunities might come up, or just like in my case, in my first match, you might never know when someone might not show up.
I always have my dress.
Yeah, I was about to say you got all you needed. Like some interviewers have to like. I wear a blue coat when it comes to the show. I go to the shows. People think I'm part of the show, and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I'm a podcaster. I'm like, yeah. For Amelia, like for you, like going to the shows with him, like what is the coolest spot you've ever seen him do?
Oh my goodness.
There's a couple.
There are so many. Something that I can say that definitely gets like my heart going and really racing is when he does the dives to like outside of the ring. He does it so well, but it makes me nervous every time because I'm scared that he's gonna like, maybe over or undershoot it or get stuck on the rope or I'm always nervous something's gonna happen, but he just does it so well that it's one of my favorite things that he does.
So I like calling it the Superman dive through the ropes, like that.
Yeah, right.
But you just gotta, like my case, go back and watch the Undertaker do that dive when what was that match that the wrestler didn't catch Taker?
Oh, WrestleMania 25 against
when he did the Superman dive out the ring and it didn't
landed on the cameraman. Yeah, that was rough.
Oh, like I'm 41. I don't know if you guys have Peacock or you've been watching Peacock. I've been back watching like what is like the stuff you big guys have been watching on Peacock with the pro wrestling. I watch Superstars. I'm like addicted to watching Superstars now. It's my new obsession.
Yeah, I mean, I watch a little bit of everything. Definitely a lot of like 90s WWF stuff. A little bit of WCW with all their cruiserweights and all the luchadors that came through there. The Ruthless Aggression era. Definitely, because I'm a big Rey Mysterio, John Cena guy. So those were my guys growing up because I'm an 02 baby. So I just grew up watching like Triple H, Batista. So definitely reliving all those memories and trying to find what I like and what I can take from those guys.
I actually go through and try and look through the different promotions and like backstage interviews. And I really listen to the ring announcing too. I watch whatever he likes to pick because, he's the one that knows what he's looking for and he knows what he wants to watch. So I pay attention to the ring announcing and how they're picking their words and stuff like that. And yeah. I still like wrestling. I still like watching wrestling with him too. So
yeah, like when we watch a lot of the ring announcers, we'll be watching like a lot of like Howard Finkel and like Mean Gene. And then on the women's side, like Samantha Irving. So like just women and men that she could like play off of so she could find her own personality as a ring announcer.
Definitely.
The ring announcers, you said the one, the man, the myth, the legend, the Howard Finkel. Like,
oh yeah.
I grew up going to New York. I grew up in Long Island, so I grew up going to Madison Square Garden. I grew up listening. My first show, October, I think of '93. I got a chance to see Fink live, and my first time ever going to a wrestling show. A.K.A. joke, 9-year-old Joe with a mustache, just sitting there in the garden, little mustache. Probably had one. Son, Ritalin back then, probably had one. So I'm a hyperactive little kid. Probably had a little mustache. Didn't even realize it. A burn mark of what's his name with the lightning bolt? And like, why is it my son has like a burn mark around his eyes that look like glasses?
Oh,
one day, ma'am, you'll know why. One day.
Yeah, and that was what was so great about all those ring announcers is everybody had their own personality, whether you were a referee or ring announcer. Like I could always tell it was Howard Finkel with that mustache, or whether it was Lillian Garcia with that voice, or Samantha Irving with the way she announces everybody. So like all the ring announcers, they all have their own personality. So I love it.
I've been called the Fink. I've been literally called the Fink. I got called the Fink one time. I had my hat off and I was walking around and I took off my glasses and I was walking around. They're like, I had a black coat on. I don't know how I got a black coat. They're like, oh, has anybody ever told you to like Howard Finkel? And I'm just like, all the time.
That is a great
because I had a cold, so my voice can't go up to the octaves in for a while. And I'm like, no, I can't do my Howard Finkel impression. I can't sound cool. I was like, sometimes I can do it, sometimes I can't. The following I can't do it yet. No, usually I can do it, but some days.
Gotta play with it a little bit.
Yeah. The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
I might need to get him to ring announce me.
I know, right?
I want to do ring announcing, but I would have to, so I don't screw my vocal cords up. I would have to speak talk it, like not the following contest, like do something like that, like I usually do. But now let's go into the food aspect because I'm a fat guy in a skinny guy's suit. So the fat guy's stomach's starting to lump out because I work in a kitchen. As I say, the fat guy's his wet bodying out of my skinny body, making me fat. No. But where you guys live in California, what is that one? What are those like local restaurants you want to give a shout out to right now? Because I love supporting local business.
So most of my family is from LA, but we actually are living in Arizona currently. I moved out from Obregón, Sonora, Mexico when I was around 5 years old, and she's been living in Arizona ever since. So all my family, they're diehard LA fans, so that's what I rep all the time. But definitely, like as far as food goes, being a Mexican, I love like all kinds of like tacos, like tamales. Definitely a bunch of great spots here down in Arizona to go check out if you're ever looking for some like good tacos, like Taqueria Factory, Don Nico's. So all you AZ local natives, you definitely got to go check those places out.
Ooh. I actually had a female wrestler on from Arizona. Her episodes aired in March. Fallon Gray, she's another one of them local, like the Fallen Angel. She's a cool person. She actually, another one sent me a t-shirt. The first ever gray t-shirt I've ever got. Next Santos is the first white one, but she was the first gray one. My mom, I took it out of the bag. My mom's like, "Oh, come in a bag. That's so cute." Took it out, and she's like, "Joe, you realize that the shirt, that's like your first non-black shirt?" And she's like, "What is it with wrestlers? Do they get the design, and the promoter, the designer tells them, okay, colors are free, and then the colors cost this much, but the black is free. Okay, I'll take it."
Yeah, a lot of wrestlers
pay for everything else, but like is it like that? Like what? How does it go when it comes to like making like merch? Is it in a rush to make the shirts, or do you guys be able to take your time on them and stuff like that?
I definitely wasn't trying to make any shirts or merch right away, just because I wanted to develop myself as a wrestler before and just build a fan base. But now that I am, and I'm 2 years in, I definitely take note that the shirts are key importance. And usually, like I have noticed that black is the most common color, and I'm just guessing that's probably because it's the easiest way to blend colors in together. But I was able to come up, do one shirt, and then with the help of her mom, actually, she helped me design another one just recently. So gonna be selling those pretty soon.
You know, merch is fun. We were actually the other day, we were coming up with some different like sticker logos and some new, just messing around with like AI and the generation. What's the word? I don't know. The messing with AI and just creating these really cool symbols for stickers and stuff. And that's how I got mine that you liked the other day.
That was cool.
I'll send it to you. You just
I really liked it because I have a sticker wall of fame right here.
Oh, there you go. There's a bunch.
I got people from England. I got people from PA. I got people from Vegas. I got Florida. I got Fallon Gray. I got the brand from the UK. Those are my homeboys.
Yeah, we gotta add to that collection now.
Yeah, I gotta get some more AZ love because Fallon's on there. She's in the corner there. Fallen Angel. She's really nice. She was really cool. And her birthday aired around her birthday. I was like, oh no. She's like, when's it aired? She's like, oh, my birthday. I'm like, Fallon, we're airing it around your birthday. She's like, oh my God, really? And I was like, yeah. You're so nice. And I was like, she's like, I'm gonna send you a shirt, Joe. Send me your address. I was like, all right. I was like, in my head, I'm like, now I got 15 new shirts. And then you're gonna laugh. Same day I got her shirt, I got 3 packages in one day. Like, I was like,
You got all this merch coming your way now. You didn't even ask for it, huh?
Yeah, my mom's just like, my dad's like, okay, the British one got delayed because my driveway was icy when it was supposed to come in, and then they sent it back to the post office. My dad got it, picked it up, got the little ticket. It's in the car. I opened it in the car. I was like, oh, cool, two t-shirts. And I got to the thing, 2 more. And my dad's like, did you know all these packages were coming today? I was like, no. My mom's like, and my mom's like, geez, Randy, you think you got enough love today? I was like, oh, wrestling Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Hey,
She's like, how many t-shirts do you have down there now? And I'm just like, Mom, they're gifts. They're gifts, Mom. They're gifts. It's gifts. They're gifts.
Don't worry about it.
It's better to be loved than hated, but it's nice when people appreciate and they send you merch. But I like the merch. I like the t-shirts the wrestlers send me, but I always feel like bad because that's your merch money. They're sending out like, he didn't give us any money, but we're gonna send him a t-shirt because he's a nice guy and he helped to promote us. And I'm going, come to PA. I'll buy a shirt. It can go Mafia. I'll put my thumb out and be like, "Hey, you doing?"
Yeah.
And she'll go, "Here's this t-shirt." Why are you doing that? I saw you give him money. And I'm like, that was for his cab home. Like,
yeah, publicity, I definitely think is one of the most important keys in wrestling, just because, especially with Instagram and TikTok all over the world now, it's just, you always got to try to find those opportunities to build your brand up as a wrestler.
Yeah, it's very important. Like, do you guys find that when it comes to like promo pictures, that makes the promoter want to book you guys even more?
Oh yeah. I definitely been told plenty of times just by my trainers alone. Like sometimes they won't even need to see you wrestle. Just by your look alone might get you booked on a show. So that's why it's always really important for me specifically to stay in shape and to look my best so I can stand apart from everybody else.
Oh, like when it comes to like the gear, because I see your gear is really nice, the blue and everything.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Who made it?
So I have gotten my gear done by a few people in the past. So my boots, I got them done by a bootmaker. He goes on Instagram by at Aces Boots. And then I got my trunks and my knee pads done by Pro Wrestling Wear. That's his tag on Instagram. If any other local wrestlers want to go check them out, definitely loved all their work. And I always feel like gear is, besides physique, gear is definitely number 2 in the importance of being a great pro wrestler, just because you always want to set yourself apart from everybody else. And one key to that is making sure that you have the most professional looking gear that you could find. So you don't look like just like you're wearing a costume for Halloween and then you're just going out there embarrassing yourself like that.
And have her go, I don't know him.
I don't know about this guy.
Did you steal my underwear from the drawer? Jesus Christ, what is that?
Mine?
Yeah. So I definitely take
it looks so snug on you. Geez, did you grab the wrong drawer?
I would hate for that to happen.
She comes out and she has like a jacket on. She's like, "Oh, sorry, these are your tights. Sorry, here, I gotta go back." It's like the TikTok video. We gotta change. Sorry, it looks like, is that my swimsuit from last year?
Yeah, I've actually had like clothes that fit me way better now than when I had when I was a little kid. So it's like it's a full circle because I was such a big kid growing up. And growing up in Mesa, Arizona, I was just like always a big Mexican kid, always eating and always filling himself up with food. So full circle now.
So, like, I know you guys you're in the Arizona area now. Do you get more bookings for outdoor shows, or is there a lot of like mixed indoor outdoor?
I would say it's definitely more of a mix because I still have my home promotions down here in Arizona, Slam U and PCWAZ. But I'm mostly around the West Coast right now, just wrestling down at New Mexico, Texas, Las Vegas. So definitely want to make my way out to the East Coast pretty soon. But for now, just trying to build my name up here in the West Coast.
Awesome.
But we don't go outside very often with the shows. It's too hot.
What temperature out there today? Because I know by me in the Poconos, it's 39 degrees, and you guys be like, you would probably freeze going out.
I was able to experience snow for the first time when I went to Denver for wrestling, and that was awful. Like, never again. Well, I will have to do it again, but not for another month.
Wouldn't choose to live in it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I was born in Iowa, and
gosh.
I know, right? And a lot of my family still lives out in the Midwest. It's just me and my parents here in Arizona. So getting away from the snow has definitely been a big jump for us. And my mom grew up in Chicago. She was like, no more snow ever.
Yeah.
This goes to the ring announcer. Like, with it being in Arizona, do you find like you have to make sure you're hydrated because of the aspect of the microphone side with your voice?
Oh, extremely. You always think that you have enough water in your system already, like just in your head, but then you get nervous, you get a little bit sweaty, and like your palms get all, sweaty and clammy. Always having the extra water bottles on the side for me has helped so much. Extra water bottles and chapstick. That is the two things that I need right next to me. I've working my way through ring announcing. I've mostly shared the ring announcing with the main ring announcer for the Phoenix Championship Wrestling shows. Her name's Miranda Morales.
I know that name, Miranda Morales. Yeah.
Miranda, she's been helping me with ring announcing and backstage interview stuff. So sharing some of the shows.
Miranda Morales. Yeah. She has her own podcast, right? Yeah. I remember Miranda. I think she does. She does the Luchador one. I think she did. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong Miranda. I knew of that name.
But she helps me. She gives me plenty of advice. And I did my first full solo show on their student promoting shows is the Slam U shows. And that was a roller coaster of everything. So it was so much fun. Yeah,
I definitely think there was even one show over the summer where we were outside and that the hot canvas was so bad. Ooh, I was one of the first matches to be on that show. And I could definitely tell you right now, I did not lay down for very long. I was in and out real quick. So, yeah, over the summer, it gets rough.
So, before we go, if there is any place, where anybody can pick up any merch, is there any, you guys have it on any websites, or does it just go exclusively at the shows?
Yeah, so if there's any of them that come to our PCWAZ wrestling show, we always sell merch there. If you look me up on Instagram at KikeQUIQUE_Calderon, you can hit me up right there for more merch. Yes, and as far as you go?
As far as I go, I just have stickers right now that are coming in, and you can message me directly on Instagram. Amelia Plum 2 is my tagline, or I sell them at the Phoenix Championship Wrestling, PCWAZ shows, or the Slam U shows.
Awesome. If there was any younger wrestlers that are just getting into training, what kind of advice would you guys have for them? Or announcers?
Yeah, some advice that I give any wrestler starting or training, definitely the most important is be open to criticism. Only because I definitely was one person who was able to develop even faster just from taking criticism and not being an open book more than I can say, just so I can be able to get myself better with every rep, and then making sure that with each rep that I am doing, I got all those people in my head telling me how to get better. So yeah, be open to criticism.
For me with ring announcing, I definitely think that you should start with backstage interviews before running with ring announcing. The backstage interviews gave me so much more time to develop and kind of get the right verbiage and the right wording for ring announcing, since with wrestling it's such a very hard set of words and verbiage to make them look better. So going through the backstage interviews to learn the wrestlers and how the wrestlers want to present themselves to the world helps me with my ring announcing a lot.
Yeah, and definitely one thing I could say is if wrestlers do have the opportunity, I definitely suggest that they ref first. It definitely helped me, and I don't think I would be where I'm at today without reffing before I started wrestling, just to build that foundation of being in the ring and building that ring awareness, getting to see how everything is put together. So yeah, definitely suggest if you have the opportunity to referee before you start wrestling, I would definitely learn that first.
It's all about the baby steps, right? You kind of want to throw yourself in the water to see how you do, but it's that slow development makes a huge difference in just being an overall better wrestler or ring announcer / interviewer.
True. I want to thank you both so much for coming on the podcast, help me open West Coast Wrestling Month. I'm Joe Panther III.
Enrique Calderon.
And Amelia Plum.
And we will catch you in the next one.